motherfucking Kennedy live on YouTube Thrashcast channel, where I am getting ready to tour Pig Records and interview Gabe Portnow. I'm just en route now to the secret location of the offices of Portnow Entertainment Group in a back cave in the suburbs. Alright. Just checking in. Holla holla. We'll be back soon with the full live experience. Are we back live? It'll pop up here when it hits it. There it is. Fancy Kennedy live.
Mr. Pig. I'll just follow Fancy's lead.
We are right here at Dave Portnow's house. He's just telling me about how music arrives here and then it gets... How do you sell it? Online? Or do you have like a store?
Me? Well, first, how does it get here? Here's the problem. It gets here on pallets. And then I gotta find room in my house for the pallets. So, yeah, well, and sometimes I'll have 15,000 records in this house, and it's just mind-boggling. How do I sell it? It's very, very easy. First off, I realized a long time ago it's very difficult to make money at this business. So I've always kept a day job, and I do consider this a business, but I, at this point in time, have no desire to I have great desire to make money, but that's not our goal. Our goal is to keep the record company going and alive. We deal with a lot of label partners, PB Records, we deal with 1332 Records. We deal with Little Mafia, who has been an amazing supporter of ours, and he's had a record label a lot longer. So we often pool our money and create more projects, get more products out, not projects. As far as the distribution and the selling of them, it's pretty easy. I have a deal with Moribond. They handle most of my distribution, with the exception of the label partners, who will get 50, 100 copies, something like that. And then we also, with CDs, we have a nice market in Indonesia. And in Europe, we have a great market with vinyl. We have no CD market there whatsoever, and the CD market in the US is pretty much dead as well. It's a shame. My favorite format is vinyl, but there are some cool things that can be done with a CD that you can't do with vinyl, including put a lot more music on a disc. Moribond sells them through Relativity and through Sony and Sony Red. We also do sell some direct to stores. We have had lots of other distributors over the years. One of the problems with distributors is they go bankrupt and that sets you back. We had Joey Shithead out of from DOA. He distributes. Alternative Tentacles have helped in the past and do put some of our stuff on their mail order list. I could go on and on.
About the supply chain.
The supply chain?
The supply chain, yeah.
No, what do you mean by the supply chain?
You know what I mean? It gets shipped out, you get it, and then people help you.
Yeah,
it goes to different places.
So this used to be a one-man show, just me. And in order to grow, we couldn't keep it that way. And I don't have the best computer skills. I'm old school.
Right.
So we have Mike King helps me, and then he also assists with our attorney, Neil Sussman. Mike helps us save a lot of money in legal fees by doing some of the things and organizing things to go to Neil. The vice president is Milo Pig, or Milo Anthony Milam. I think you know him. We have Mark Mendez. He's doing a lot of work with the internet side. We have the Corruption Lord, who is handling, he's handling the iTunes, all that stuff.
Digital
Right,
content.
yeah, thank you.
yeah.
That's the word I was searching for.
The
Digital.
distro kid,
He
CD
just-
baby, jing.
Yeah, he just set
Yada,
up a
yada,
band
yada.
camp that is out of this world.
I can vouch for that. That thing is amazing.
And on Facebook, he goes under Corruption Lord. He doesn't seem to use his real name a lot, so he has also played in a lot of metal bands that most of you people know of. Let's see. I'm forgetting the graphic artists who are tremendous. We used to have Sonny, and Sonny sadly hung himself a few years back. And Sonny was awesome, but we've always had Ryan Harrison, and he kind of controls the final layout, making sure, just approving everything in the art department, and does a lot of graphic.
Of the albums or just like the websites and
No, he does. Yeah, you're correct. The physical product, the albums. If we have advertisements.
yeah, I noticed there's some almost a kind of cohesive across here. Everything's got kind of a look to it.
Yes,
Like you can almost tell it, at a glance that it's one of your releases, kind of.
Good. That's what we want. We want a brand. We have hundreds and hundreds of logos. And once again, if you get a logo tattooed, you get free products for life. We have participating tattoo parlors all
No
over.
doubling up now, Dave. You don't get double free products for life just because you got more than one pig tattoo.
You would get a few extras.
All right.
You also, if you have the pig tattoo, if there is a backstage and one of our bands are playing, you get access to the backstage. You don't just have to get a pig tattoo. You can get a potbelly tattoo. You get free potbelly products for life. You can get a dehumanizer tattoo, free dehumanizer products for life. So our other graphic artist is a gentleman named Damon Bradshaw. He
I
is.
see a tramp stamp in my future.
Oh, good, good. You can put it anywhere you want too. We suggest the forehead, but anywhere you want. Damon is another awesome graphic artist, and him and Ryan work so well together. Damon is currently working on 3 projects for us. One project that we started him on was a band out of Portland, Oregon called Riot Cop. Just absolutely brilliant, and it will scare people. And brings reality. And I don't know what you know about Portland, Jimmy. There are a lot of
Riot cops
problems in Portland. The riot cops are out all the time. You have your skinheads, your Nazis. You have, I'm not an expert on it. This CD clarifies all that. There are.
I
You can
want
talk
to see
to
this thing.
Yeah, you can
That
talk to
sounds
Steve
so cool.
Hanford. You could talk to Jay Crash. The people down in Portland, they can tell you about it, and you would never figure a city like you always hear how liberal Oregon is and all that. You would
Right.
never expect this to be going on there. So it is brilliant. This guy is also a painter, and his paintings are brilliant and frightening, and very, very political. And I expect him to eventually get in trouble for his views, especially in this current political climate.
Sounds like a good one to maybe interview on Punkrockracy.
Absolute. No, you've got to, with your camera and all that, you've got to see his art. The pieces of art he creates don't fit in this house. He
Rashcast.
sold one after he did a then when Notre Dame burned down, he did a giant piece of Notre Dame burning down, and a museum picked it up in Paris. His art is frightening. It's very real. His video work is amazing. He will, if there's a riot cop and a protester going at it, or if there's a anti-fascist and a fascist fighting, he will roll under them with his cameras. And I mean, he gets underneath them and filming. It's just sick.
All right, so he's a guerrilla journalist, modern day.
And then on top of that, this video he
Regular
made,
stunt
which I
person.
watched. I actually have some of his stuff downstairs. I can show him. But have you ever seen those like paint things where it's like you put it around your hand. There's 5 fingers and different colors come out. You know what I'm talking about? You put this paint thing and you have 5 colors and you have 5 fingers and they're hooked into different tubes of paint. Well, he has one of those. And he's painting protest signs, but it's not hooked into any paint. It's hooked into his fucking vein and he's painting in blood.
Oh, nice.
So he's painting protest signs in blood. So it's very moving, very real, very important stuff. We can't wait to get that out. Jack and Dino mastered it for us, the legendary Jack and Dino. And then Pamela
You'll
DeBarge,
have to explain who that is to me.
Jack and Dino. Okay. Jack and Dino was produced just about everybody from Washington State. But Jack produced the first Nirvana album, several Nirvana albums. He's done Zeke. He did Soundgarden. When the name you say Jack and Dino, it is...
What about the stuntman? I think I've heard of him. Oh, I think I've heard of Jack and Dino.
Yes.
Didn't he do the stuntman?
He did.
I know who he is then.
He did everybody.
Those other bands you mentioned I've never heard of, but the stuntman I know about.
And is Jerry Ziegler?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jerry had another band, Death Squad, that used to be on my old label, Everrat. I'm working on getting those titles up at least onto the Bandcamp. Jerry, you and I were talking on break about drummers. That's another.
I love Jerry's drumming,
drummer.
dude.
He also drummed
he's
for
my
Coven.
dude. Yeah,
Coven,
exactly.
Death Squad,
And Fits of Depression.
Fits of Depression, which I have tons. That was my favorite project Jerry's ever done. But that is another. We have some legendary Northwest drummers. You know him, like we were talking about Steve Hanford. It's amazing. Would you like to go downstairs?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So I'll take you to the garage.
Yeah, grab my phone on your way.
I shall. Too many bugs in it.
Fancy Kennedy here live on the Thrashcast YouTube channel where I am at Pig Records, Dave Portnow's house. And we are just having a grand old time.
I would like to, one of the best trades I ever made.
Yeah.
Now I love records, but I traded some records for this thing of beauty. Isn't that not gorgeous? Except for the dirt on it.
Oh my gosh.
But this was in
Gosh,
trade
this
for records.
picture's so big, it must be zoomed out or something. Hard to get you in the whole thing.
Well, you should be in it and I should hold the camera. And then you your booze underneath.
Oh my God, here, let me see.
I don't have booze in there, but that's what it's for.
Oh, that's so cute. All right, hold that. No booze.
There you go, Fancy. I got my finger in the way. Fancy Kennedy on the Mike's Hard Lemonade couch. One of my greatest trades ever. I traded this with Doug from Mud Bucket, and we do have.
Behave! Behave.
Yeah.
Live on Thrashcast YouTube at Dave Portnow's Pig Records. Whoop whoop. We're doing it.
Ah,
Cool.
you're very entertaining,
See,
Fancy.
You're gonna have to be the king.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
You found your calling.
I keep getting my finger in the way.
Yeah, I keep doing that. I have no idea. Of little items that.
Oops, done it again. Well, do you want? All these items here are for you. Well, I'm no good at this finger. Okay.
Uber. Look at that.
So those are all gone. That's the Dehumanizers Post Nuke Boys Save the World demo tape reissue. This one is the Dehumanizers Fresh Corn and Premium Bananas. Potbelly's Test of Time. Maybe step back a bit. I think my light's too bright. There we go. Oops.
Yeah, I love that other Guns of Nevada that you dropped off before. That one's in my roommate's truck.
They were great. Oh,
in the CD player.
And here you go. One of my favorite bands ever. Raw Power.
Now let's talk about that. Aren't they like pioneers of crust?
I would say
or is
so.
That raw deal?
I would give Raw Power. No, they're not really pioneers of crust, no, but they're Birmingham and then over towards Whidbey Island and Anacortes. Yeah, that's better. That light is so glaring. This was a fun one. Jason Potbelly, my A&R, who I forgot to mention when we were talking about employees. He put this one together, and we just wanted to establish a historical record of north of Seattle.
Well, especially the transplants, because when you transplant here with your band, you get here and you end up having to live in the suburbs because of the rent prices and stuff. So there's so many bands now.
The outrageous
30, 40 minutes.
The outrageous housing costs.
Yeah.
That one we've been through, but that's the Crunchbird Shit Happens, not even out yet. And this one just came out. A little Misfits play. Potbelly's Legacy of Debauchery, a truly great album.
So cool.
So proud. Potbelly just gets.
And she and he had a TV show. They had a show where they would invite bands. It was a comedy show. And they would invite bands that would argue with each other. It was like a Maury Povich. And she still had tapes, all that stuff. And there's a guy that's put up a lot of her stuff on YouTube. Oh, this is an album. This is a great album.
Oh, that is so good. So Johnny Cash, cowpunk-like.
Can't wait.
Potbelly, established 1995. This is 20 years later. They put this one out. Can you flip to the back side? This one has. Okay, so I don't know if you can. Let me see. I get the camera on it. Okay, that wording, which you can't read, it says.
Into the roots of CZ Records and all the records that were in all these bands, and just they're all on my Facebook, and I just find that historical perspective of it so fascinating, So it's like my bass player is Darren Peters from Willard, and
Willard was awesome.
He's from H Hour, so him and Tad moved here in '86 together from Idaho. And Tad engineered the Bleach record, and then theirs, and then H Hour is on Secretions and Pirate Victories with all those bands,
I have probably my most favorite grunge song ever was Jack Pepsi.
by Tad. That one was just awesome. I would I Mark Arm was huge, and I saw him.
McLaughlin. Garage. Fishies.
We are very good at raising fish, and unfortunately, these ones that he just showed you, they just keep getting bigger and bigger, and it's already time to get them another tank. So these two that you're seeing there, the two koi, those are kit and cat. On October 18th, they turned 1 year old. They're only 1 year. This was a rescue goldfish. And he's just thriving. Isn't he beautiful, fancy goldfish? Actually,
wow.
His name, you're not going to like this, or you're going to like this. We named him after you. His name is Fancy.
Oh, so cool. From Bombay to Juneau. I'm so fancy everywhere I go. Yeah, but I'm named after the Dusty Springfield song.
That's a giant gourmet. He was also a
Look at
rescue.
that. It looks like they're in my iPad. Wow.
Last time our fish got too big, we gave them to the Japanese tea garden. This time I was hoping to keep them. But yeah, so that's that. Let's see if I can get these guys down below are kind of interesting. Oh, here's our lizard. He's a rescue. He's, if you can get the camera up here.
We're here live trying to get a look at this lizard.
Can you see him? I think you gotta point it straight.
Oh,
He's right
I'm
on that
looking at
rock.
a piece of wood.
There you go.
There he is.
So he's a northern alligator lizard. They are from here. They are not to be kept in captivity. They're, wild. He was injured. We've been nursing him back to health, and he's almost there. And up in Snohomish County, we have the Reptile Man. We called them for a little advice. And also Washington State Fisheries, not Game and Wildlife, whatever the organization is, we called them and they told us what to do. He will eventually make it back into the woods, yeah, he was a rescue. He was in bad shape. He had been captured and abandoned in a house and left in a bucket, and then the house was foreclosed. So down below. Whoops. These guys are. Oh, I don't know if you can see him. The axolotl. Let me see if I can get.
Oh my God.
You see him? Yeah. I don't know if your camera can see.
Oh, he
him.
doesn't like the light. Oh, the camera sees it real good.
So there's two axolotls. They're originally from. There, you got them.
There he is.
So
Yeah,
they're
I had a good shot of him though.
They're from two lakes in Mexico is where they're from, and there's only one left because the Mexicans drained the other one to stop flooding. All right, so I'm trying to get more room. These two rows are punk. These are actually alphabetized. There's tons more in boxes that are not alphabetized yet. I'm trying to get to. Up above, we have my children's collection, which has some pretty cool stuff. I have Ren and Stimpy on yellow vinyl. Let's see if I can get up there. A lot of Disney stuff, which most people are interested in, but I have some other pretty cool stuff. One of my favorites. Mr. Pig. Muppets Go to Manhattan.
Oh yeah.
Trying to find some of the older ones. Oh, this one you like. A Pac-Man square picture disc.
Oh wow, dude.
Pac-Man Fever.
So cool.
Pac-Man Picnic.
Yeah. Those discs must be hard to play with that little mouth, with her mouth in it.
Oh, Pink Panther.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Like I said, I love vinyl.
You sure do. Yeah, it just outsold CDs for the first time in 20 years.
I saw that, and I have to take
You're
issue
mad.
with that because vinyl has been outselling CDs for me,
For a long time.
5-1 for at least 5 years. And everyone else I talk to sell a CD unless it's at a live show.
Right.
And I do not. I love CDs too. I got a nice CD collection. Unfortunately, they're in boxes.
Well, the worst thing about when it switched to CDs is it lost some of the collectability because you had to switch down to the J card instead of the big album. Then once it went back to there wasn't anything but collectability because everybody has Spotify. Then it's 100% collectible now. They don't have any playable value because everyone already has the music on there.
And then now cassettes are back too, which is just wild.
Wow. Well, they sound better.
We have the ground score cassette.
Oh yeah.
Most people don't have it. This is one of the greatest Seattle bands ever. Yeah, we'll use that.
Oh, I love them. I've seen them many times.
Yeah, look at that. I don't think many people have this, but this was one of my favorite bands ever.
Oh my goodness.
So then over here, these are rock and roll 7 inches.
Oh, REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, you name it. I got it all.
I got you, babe. UB40. Yikes. That's a tough listen there.
Tough liftings.
ABBA. I love ABBA.
To me, it's more like kids collect baseball cards. I collect these.
So cool.
Over here we have hip hop. We have
Oh, all right. So all these little tubs are just
we have
full of vinyl. So cute. Your little world. Wow, this is just so great.
So the frames you saw in the
Really
office,
appreciate
they're
this.
going to come out here.
Right. And there he is. The zealous doctor.
Yes, another Victor Hayden. Let's see.
And that's just endless there.
Let's see if I. Oh,
Chesty Malone.
Let's see if I have some really good ones to show you. This. A Winston Churchill speech on flexi disc. Well, I love the Seahawks, so the Seahawks wave. Oh, no. This is one of my favorites. This is Walter Cronkite narrating the moon landing.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. Man on the moon.
Oh my God, that's
No, I have some pretty cool stuff.
pure fiction right there.
Yes, with Walter Cronkite. And when you listen to this, you can hear the fiction in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, sorry. To me, it all was staged. Let's see, what else do I got? A Tacoma gentleman, Leslie
All the
Sanders.
world's a stage.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, what else do I got? I've got. Oh, can I get down here? I'd like to see if I can. Okay, I think it's in my Captain Beefheart collection. I might have moved it, damn it. I have it put away somewhere else, but that's my Beefheart collection. But I also have a drawing by Don Van Vliet, which is just awesome. Unfortunately, I don't know where it is right now.
All right.
And this stuff will start to get organized.
Fancy Kennedy here live with Dave Portnow, where we're just digging around in his closet, completely just in his garage. I mean, just going berserk, looking at all this killer fucking shit. Here, hold on. Here, let me get you back on. There we go.
So earlier you saw the original.
Flash McConnell, right?
This be Flash,
This
Flash
is so
Poverty.
Cool.
So
Cool. Yeah. Good healing vibrations. Flash, he just got out of the hospital, passing a kidney stone, on Facebook there, and in real life. All right, let me get it switched back.
MQA test pressings. Once again, Flash.
What's it? AMQA. That's the Berkeley Street, Santa Monica.
It's interesting you should do that. So Rainbow Records has been there forever. They're now going out of business. Their landlord won't renegotiate, so Rainbow Records is closing down December 31st of this year, 2019. That probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but to myself, and I would say 25% of the records pressed in the United States over the past 50 years have been pressed by Rainbow, and they are now gone. They're here for about 3 more months. They're not taking any.
Well, I'll look into it. Maybe I can figure out a way where we can just extrude the albums with a 3D printer.
That would be wild,
right? Why not?
We did.
I mean, I think I could probably grind one out on a CNC machine. Really?
Really, I'd be fascinated. Yeah. Here's old
on aluminum.
Fortunately, is currently on trial. That's a great logo by Art Bierman. I have an older collector's copy of Kiluguzzo in the other room I took out for you.
Sweet.
Metal Meltdown 3. I'm hoping in 2020 to put out a Metal Meltdown 5. I started with the Metal Meltdown.
Right, so that'll be a good segue so that we can get into the meat of the interview and do a wrap up, which is how did you get this, and what is the the chronologically the labels that you're involved with that you're telling me, like Everrat Records, and then
Subcore and
yeah, Subcore.
So,
Can we stand over here?
yeah.
Maybe we get some light.
Or do you want to go in a different room?
Either way, it's probably good.
Okay.
Let's get over there so I can. That way, that light will be on your face. Everything's backwards in the movies, dude. There you go.
All right. So I'll just take a seat so I'm more comfortable.
Yeah, right.
The cameras, you still got good light?
Yeah.
Okay. Boy, I think about 1981. Let's see. No, we've been earlier than that. Like 1979, I was really into metal. There was, I known about Iron Maiden already and just absolutely loved them. And I had Merciful Fate records, which my older brother Ed from the Dehumanizers, Infra Ed, he would have to sneak in the house because my mom would throw them out. And I had been reading metal magazines like Hit Parader and Circus, and I really didn't enjoy them because it was all this stuff I didn't like.
Right.
I don't want to use the names of the bands because all music is great, but they were bands I really didn't like, and I didn't find heavy enough for me. And so I found this magazine called Denim and Leather. It was published by Bret Hartman out of Seattle, and Bret eventually left Seattle. He got a job as an A&R guy down in LA. I think as big as he has a platinum record for Cinderella. He did try to sign Nirvana. Unfortunately, he was on the unsuccessful side of that. But he had a lot of great stuff he put out. But when he left Seattle, I called him up and said, well, how do you put out a metal fanzine? And he kind of gave me some guidance and stuff. And I started a magazine called The Subway, Ride the Subway Express to Hell. And it was pretty cool. I got, there was a company in New York called Dutch East India that asked me if they could distribute it. So we were, printing sometimes 5,000 issues, and they were sending them to record stores and all over the place. And it was a metal magazine. And then I got into doing some shows, Subway Presents. And one of those shows Soundgarden played on, actually more than one, but the first one I did, Soundgarden was on, which was, awesome when, considering today. And I missed the boat on that one. I should have signed them, huh?
Well, yeah. All the bands are great, but they always just sounded so good,
Yeah. And so the Spoon Man, Soundgarden, and they did that with Black Sabbath cover. Do you know which one I'm talking about? I've got it. I'm forgetting the name, but Soundgarden, everything they did was so great.
Yeah, I talked to the guys from Voodoo Gear Shift, and they said they were in Des Moines, Iowa, and they heard the Ultra Mega album and wrote an album themselves and moved to Seattle and got signed by CZ Records and never turned back.
Well, I love CZ Records. I think I have everything they did, and I don't think they ever put out a bad record.
That's just amazing. So how did you make the jump from being a metal magazine guy to being involved in these early labels?
So then I started managing bands. I managed a band called Max Planck that played around Seattle. They were great. People around Seattle didn't really dig them, but I got them and another band, Kill Decor, which was Brian from the Rhino Humpers. I was managing his band, Kill Decor. I was managing Max Planck. And then my brother had a great band called Dance Dance, but he was also doing some heavier stuff, and I told him, make a demo, and he did, and it was the Dehumanizers, and I told him I can guarantee you fame pretty quick, and I didn't mean like fame. I meant a lot more than what you get by just playing here. And I put an ad in Metal Forces magazine, which was a magazine I really liked out of England, and we got orders for the demo from all over the world, and he was amazed. And at that point in time, he was playing with Zoli, and they didn't really have a band. He did most everything, and Zoli did some of the guitar stuff. So then he found this guy named John Mortensen playing outside of the Seattle Ferry Terminal with a sign, "I need money for ferry fare." And he was a bass player. He was playing guitar, but he picked him up, and he was traditionally a bass player, and he was a singer, and I wanted to, they were great. So there was the riot, the Circle Jerks riot in Fremont, and I been working for the Guerrilla Gardens now for like 2-3 years promoting shows and stuff, and Tony Chu was there, the owner, and they came to arrest him. Well, they came in. It's pretty brutal what they did to us that night, but he handed me some money, and he said, hold this for me. And I said, okay. And then a bunch of people, including him, got arrested. It was an awesome riot, but that's a different story. So then a few days later, he called me, and he was at the airport and told me to bring the money. And I told my dad I needed a ride. I was only 14, I think. And my dad said, "No, you're not bringing him the money. You and the band's got to do something with that money, because that's not fair. He don't get the money." So we used the money to put out the Dehumanizers Kill Ugezo and the Dehumanizers, the Dehumanizers Kill Ugezo and the Accused Return of Martha. And you know what? They both took off, and it made it easy. So then we put out AMQA, which also took off, and that was on my first label, Subcore. And Subcore ran into some financial difficulties because of distributor bankruptcies and went out of business. We also put out State of Confusion out of Idaho, which sold about 8,000 copies, and had the distributors paid, it would have been a thriving label. Unfortunately, that ended Subcore, and a few years later, I started up Everett. I named it after Everett, Washington, because the metal I loved was coming out of Everett. That was the Accused, Mace. The Dehumanizers at that point were, stationed up in Linwood, and so we named it. And the first record we did for Everett was Sachet with Phil Bentz. It was a pop metal band, and but they were great. And so we did a real crappy put together 7-inch. I also then started the Metal Meltdown series with a guy in a band named DC LaCroix, Dan Christofferson, and that was the DC. And he basically just wanted to get his band on there, and then he wasn't interested in doing a second one, so I did a second, a third, and a fourth. And now I would like to do a fifth one. It's all Washington State metal bands. So we started doing those, and those did pretty good. And then Enigma picked up Everett, and Everett put out the Coven, Blessed is the Black, and that sold really well. Enigma did a couple things for the Dehumanizers, which sold pretty well. Enigma did Sacrilege BC for us as well, which sold very well. And then we did the Mentors and El Duce, and we were doing quite well. And then Enigma Capital went bankrupt on us. At the time, they owed about $200,000, and that ruined Everett. And I was pretty upset about it, and I kind of retired for a while, or stayed out of the music industry, except for as a fan. I would still go to shows and buy records, and then I decided I was going to put out the Dehumanizer collection on a 32-page booklet, and I was going to call it Pig. I named it after Tom Pig from Poison Idea. And then
Is that like Pig Champion?
You got it. The Pig Champion, one of the nicest men in the world. And I will go into Pig and Ron Gowdy later. They're both kind of mentors of mine. We named Pig after him. And to separate it from all other pigs, I did it Portnow Entertainment Group, which is the corporate name. And that way nobody can say we had Pig first or this or that, because our pig is... But it is named after Tom Pig. Man, I would see him live, and the guitar would look like a spoon in his hand because he was so big. Yet that motherfucker could play like anything and was so entertaining, and such a nice man if you really knew him. I did that, and then Jason Potbelly calls me up and says, "Oh, I'm glad you're starting a new label. I have some stuff for you." And I was like, no, I was just doing a one-time release to see if I could, pawn it off on another label. And he talked me into doing Potbelly. At the time, I didn't realize it was going to be one Potbelly release a week.
So they're prolific.
Yeah, they have over 100. So.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I agreed to do a Potbelly album, and then he calls me up one day and says, "DI would like to, do a 7-inch."
Nice.
And I'm like, well, can we have Richard hung himself? Because that's my favorite song ever. And Jason said that's the song they want to do. So then we started the Shut the Fuck Up and Listens, which now we're on. We just finished volume 10. We're going to begin working on volume 11, but volume 1 had DI, the Dehumanizers, Potbelly, and Jay Crash, his old band, Embrace the Kill. So then those started up, and then we started doing MDC and Fang. We reissued the El Duce. Unfortunately, our Gigi Allen and our the Gigi Allen and the mentors, we had licensed out to Aware One, which also they did a lot of Gigi themselves, and they did the Charles Manson record they did, but they were the guys that started distributing the Subway magazine for me to be in the beginning, and Steve Kaplan owns it. And you know what? In 35 years of doing business with him, he has never once burned me. It's always the problem is the distributors go out of business and ruin a lot of
nice
labels.
racket. All they have to do is go bankrupt.
Yes, and some of them do it because they don't have the money,
Right.
And then some of them, like Mordam, did it. Ruth had the money. Well, she didn't. I take that back. She did not have the money, but what she did is order as much product from everybody as she possibly could. At the time, she was going bankrupt, and she also had Faith No More on her label, and they didn't. They made a lot of money, so it's kind of. But yeah, and what she did was order product from everybody, and very down a lot of labels. Alternative Tentacles has always been fabulous. Jello, Jesse, who's now Fat Mike, Jesse.
Yeah, I would like to get access to those other labels' catalogs for my show too.
I would love to have copies of everything they've ever done. I'm trying to get that Alternative Tentacles collection, but God, there's so much.
Right.
And then Yeah, I'm looking forward to your other show.
All right, and so you had a show, but you were on a.
I was on Renegade Radio, and it was a lot of fun. I do not like doing a live show. I like to do a pre-recorded show, and it was a great show. We had a lot of fun. We had some great guests on it. Di, we had Tom Dyer.
Yeah, I'm thinking about. I've been a radio show personality twice in my life, both on. Once on community public radio, and then once on a
Public
rock
radio is
radio, and like I ran the rock radio station and the AM, the like Art Bell station at the same time back in Alaska. But so what we did was liners. Like we would pre-record our voice, and you could slip those little recordings of your voice in between the songs and make them overlap or whatever, and so that you could produce your show and make it sound however you wanted. You know what I mean? So we might toy around with some of those techniques.
Live is completely different.
Billy just does his show live, and it's great, but they don't let him. They don't let him on the regular FM station because we cuss up a storm on the show, and the guests are. You know what I mean? We get loose.
And yeah, Pig has been going very, very well. We've invested a lot of money in it. We have, like I said, great people. Jason Rogers is a huge part of Pig. And coming soon is Pig Comics. And our first comic is with the legendary Anthony Osgang as the artist. Him and Bradshaw is doing the graphics. But that'll be coming out in 2020. 2020. I forget it's 2019. Wow, man, time flies. So 2020 we'll have that out.
Get out and vote.
We'll have Blood Bucket, which is an old Seattle metal band that opened for Kiss a few times from the 80s. We're going to have the Riot Cop. We're going to have the Dehumanizers Go Hollywood. We will have many, many, many Potbelly releases. And we're going to do a lot more. But boy, we sure need some funding.
Yeah.
But we will continue.
And that's okay. So that's like my question is, how does your record label and how you run it, how does your model similar or different than other independent labels that are out there?
I think it's completely different in a number of ways. One, we're considered a punk rock label, but we're not. We do all sorts of things. We do spoken word, we do rock and roll, metal, all that. So we'll do country, we do every type of music, and that's what we want to be. We want to be a label. We would like to start doing some more rap. I did some rap back in the 80s. I'd like to start doing some rap. So we just want to be we're just a record label. I'd also like to produce books on tape, things like that, which we're doing one with Anthony Osgang right now. He's also a talented author.
So what do these labels like yours do? What do you like? Bands come with their own songs recorded. Maybe you pay for that, have their album made.
That would be the majority of them.
Or you might even pay for their mastering or something in some cases.
A lot of times we pay for the mastering, and then in some cases we pay for recording, like with Raw Power, with El Duce. Potbelly, we pay for recording, but we usually work it out as a trade for product.
Right.
It's based on the size of a band, and
well, when the normal label charges they charge the bands for their recording, and then they make them go out on tour, and then they make them earn the money back, or they bill them for what they spent making their tape or whatever. Is that how regular labels work?
I would hope not. That sounds pretty cruel. So, well, I think we're kind of more a regular label because we have the big distribution deal now.
Right.
And that's once again with Sony, Relativity, and we have
Oh wow.
yeah, we have,
Nice.
and this was set up by
So it's not just with CD Baby.
no, no, and so that was set up by Moribond is a distribution partner of ours, which is you should do a show with them out of. And that yeah they'll have all those metal questions answered.
Nice.
And-
Right, because you guys aren't like these other metal labels and stuff. It's like there's the Century Media family tree, and you guys aren't in that family of labels, right?
No, but we have been distributed by Century Media before, and that is a great company. And my
Yeah.
God, have you seen their catalog?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's like
Well, I mean, I used to be in prison, and you've always been able to order from their catalog in prison. So they're like, dude, I'd be willing to bet they made half their fortune selling tapes to prison. Did you know Don White, the owner, when he was Don Robertson?
I did not know.
Yeah, he's from Tacoma. He was started out managing Sedated Souls and Rhino Humpers.
Rhino Humpers were great. The Sedated Souls were
And the
good.
Lemons. Yeah, and he was the booking agent for the Redwood Pub, Milton Clubhouse, and
Century Media was recently sold, and I think the price was in the neighborhood of 20 million.
I bet.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's insane. Bobby Gunstrom and Donnie Paycheck have a label, Digital Warfare.
Digital Warfare is a great label.
It's like the money that Zeke makes, use to invest in other bands. Basically, it's kind of a picture I got of the label, but it's super cool. And they're kind of on the Century Media umbrella, I think.
Yeah, they're. We put out one Zeke 7-inch, and boy,
I
that
saw
thing
that.
sold quick.
Yes. Those guys are merch mongers. Their stuff is a hot cake.
Oh yeah, it went all over the world real quick. And then, yeah, that was a fun one. I like we put out some great stuff. That's another one. Zeke, and then no, we have some great stuff coming too. So it'll be a fun 2020. And, yeah. In the meantime, I'm glad you came.
Fancy Kennedy here, live at Pig Records, where we are wrapping up an interview with my dude,
Well, thank you, Fancy.
Dave Portnow.
And we got. I got to hook you up with an antiseptic, and I got to get you a shirt here. And yeah, please play us on your radio show, and come on down. I will get you the details on the Victor Hayden Art Show. We would
Exactly.
love Fancy to do a show from there. And anyway, it's awesome
Rest
being
in
on
peace,
Fancy's
Victor.
show. Homeless Hendrix himself.
Pig Dave.